Hola, welcome, Bem-vindo, episode 30 of Yarn Stories with Olivia. Let me tell you that this is a total last-minute decision to record. I was sitting here trying to decide how I'm going to plan out a strategy for the last few weeks of December to finish my makes that I had planned to finish by the end of the year. And I realized that the end of the year is only 26 days away. Not only that, Christmas is 20 days away, and my Christmas sweater is still a work in progress. So full disclaimer, I'm in my comfy sweatshirt, no knitwear today because I didn't want to spend time trying to plan out more than what I pulled together real quickly here for you. I hope this is going to come out to be a good enough episode or have some good content for you. And today I'm going to right off the bat say I don't have any finished objects to show you from what I've done over the past few episodes. What I do have is some shawls, as you saw from the start of the video. While I was sitting here, I realized while I may not have any finished objects to show, or finished projects, I should say. I should learn to say it as a finished project. I do have a drawer, actually 2 drawers, full of scarves, shawls, cowls that I've made over time that would make great gift-giving accessories. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to show some of those to you. So I hope this is going to be of interest. So I'm having tea, having a tea break. And so first, let me just say that I'm wearing my sweatshirt because I'm cozy and comfy at home. And this is my favorite sweatshirt that I own. It is my New York Sheep and Wool 2021. It was the first year that I'd gone to New York Sheep and Wool and got myself a sweatshirt, and I love to sit here wearing it by my window. There's still a little bit of leaves on the tree, and yeah, I'm surrounding myself with my projects. You'll see behind me there's bags here too, but I moved some of the other ones away. That would be way too much clutter to have in the background. All right, so I guess by now you probably have figured this out, right? So this is my channel here on YouTube where I talk about my knitting and my crochet and my love of turning yarn into wearable items. Everything I'm going to talk about today is going to be linked below to my Ravelry page where you can find me as Olivia30. I'm also Olivia30M on Instagram, and you can follow me on there and see my makes and other things that I post. Where shall we start? Okay, I'm going to start by saying what inspired me to do this today was I was working on a gift, and I remembered that Kevin and Ray of Needles at the Ready are running a make-along, and it is a Ho 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 Mal, which is hopeful holiday hold down. Yeah, NATR, ho ho ho, hopeful holiday hold down, with the idea being that you still, well, I think you still have time. There's 20 days left of Christmas. There's still time to knit a small accessory or a small item, and enter it into the cowl that they're hosting over on Ravelry as well as Instagram, and be entered for prizes. So I was working on a crochet cowl that I'm going to be gifting to someone soon, and I will show you that. And so I said, well, let me go through and pull some of the scarves. This is my basket of scarves that I'm going to be talking about. And yeah, so that's pretty much what's going to be the finished projects. So I'm going to show you 4 knit shawls. I have 3 crochet shawls. I've got 2 crochet cowls. I've got the work in progress I'm going to share, which is my Christmas Belle by Isabell Kraemer. There has been progress made on it since I last uploaded a short for the test fit. And I'm also going to put in here a giftaway because I decided that the theme for my episode today is going to be all about gift giving. I would like to share a gift with you as well for the holiday season. So let's start, shall we? First one I'm going to talk about from my basket here. From the basket. First one I want to share with you all is, because staying on the theme of it being needles at the ready, inspired, is my Be Simple shawl. This is a pattern by Carolyn Glaus Todrank. I think I said that right. And I knit this a few years ago, and on Ravelry, I call this my international shawl. Sorry, I'm looking over here because I wrote my notes since I wanted to not forget what I was going to say. So it's, I call it the international shawl because I knit it while I was on vacation in Portugal. And I used needles at the ready Achilles sock yarn in the colorway Sand and Stone. The Be Simple shawl is a very simple knit. It's a garter knit, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen this pattern on Ravelry if you've been on there. And it's your typical pattern for how would you call these? Asymmetrical? Yeah, asymmetrical scarves. So this scarf works very simply, casting on at the tip, increasing on one side, no increases on the other side to give you the asymmetrical shape. And it just goes, and here's the color. So Sand and Stone. Well, let's see, where do I get a true color? That's pretty much a true color of it. And I used up the whole skein. The plan is always to use up a whole skein and not have any left over. So it came out relatively long. Let me hold it back up here to you. So it is a pretty long shawl that I'll say it's more of a scarf than a shawl. And I knit it to the point where I figured how much I would need left over. Actually, I just looked at it. I didn't weigh it or anything. I just said, oh yeah, this looks about right to cast off. And when I cast off, I ended up putting the picot edge to it. And it added just the right little design element to it. I'll be putting pictures on here of me wearing it, because with a sweatshirt, it's not going to do any justice to it. But, you know, just so you could see it for now. This is how I tend to wear because it's long. I do put a little knot to it here on the side. And I love this one. I've worn this quite a bit. It's seen a lot of wear over the last few years. So that's the Be Simple shawl. Highly recommend this one. I'm not the only podcaster to recommend it. A lot. Ruth Loves to Knit has made quite a few of these. There was a different simple shawl that she did, posted on a blog, I believe. But this one is very similar. And yeah, highly recommend this one. Go and give this one a try. As with most of my shawls, it's a US 6 4mm that I used to knit these up. Does that sound all right to you guys? On the fly here, what I'm talking about with this one. All right, that's the first one. The second one is the Magic Spring Shawl. I love this one. This one I've made 3 times. The first one I made is, again, using one whole skein of yarn. I just wanted to use up the yarn beginning to end, and this is the colorway that I use. And this is a cesium yarn in the colorway Library. I picked this up at Woolen Folk, and it was one of those yarns that called to me just because it had the word library in it. So as a librarian, anything that's got any kind of book theme name or a library something in it, I will buy it, regardless of the color. But in this case, I love the color. So this shawl, I don't think I said it, who the designer is. The designer is Katarina Bobkova. I know I said that I did 3, and I said it's the Magic Spring Shawl. So this one I've called on Ravelry my Via shawl, and I'll explain why this one is a Via. And Vi basically means go, because I made this scarf to wear on my plane ride to Portugal. Seems that the last few years I've done a lot of traveling to Portugal. And come to think of it, most of my scarves that I'm going to show you today, or shawls that I'm going to show you today, have a connection to Portugal. So this one, I worked up to use while wearing on the airplane ride there, and I used up the entire skein. As I've said with the other one, my plan is to always use as much of the yarn as possible. And the way it works is also with the with your cast on, and then you build it up by having one side doesn't have any increases, the other side has some increases, and then it's got a lace panel here halfway through, well, it's not halfway, and it has a lace panel at a certain point in the pattern to break up the monotony of the garter. I should be talking here so you could see my face. And then you've got this lace work, which is a simple knit two together, yarn over knit two together. And then it has some more of the garter, another lace panel, some more garter. And in this particular case, I ended it with the lace at the end. And I pretty much used the whole skein of yarn. And the cast off is your simple beginner knitter cast off of just a knitted cast off. It's another one that I wear quite a bit, and the pictures will probably do it more justice when I show it, because you know the lighting here is not the best right now, but I'm making do with the light that I have before it starts to get dark, because it is getting dark really early here. By 4:30 it's pitch dark. Anyway, so the Vi shawls, I enjoy this pattern so much that I decided to make a second one to use on the same trip. And the second one that I made is this one. These are the colors. I should hold it this way so you can see it better. These are the colors of the second one. And this one I called the Volta shawl. So I have a Vi, which is go, and the Volta is the coming back. And the reason why I did that was because then this is what I was going to wear on the way back home on the airplane. There's this whole Portuguese saying that my mother used to use a lot that stuck in my brain when she would let me bring something from her house, or if she ever made me a meal and it came in a container, it was always, this is going with 2 V's. Vai e volta. You know, it's going, but it's got to come back. So yeah, that's where this came from. So that's why it was in my head, and I just said, you know what, I know what I'm going to name these shawls. And so this one I did a little different, and by adding the color, and I'll explain why I did that. You know, same concept, you know, the asymmetrical cast on, the lace, etc. to the cast off. This one is cast off with the solid, not with the lace, because I had enough yarn left over. This one I did it this way because I had started it all with this black yarn, which is this black yarn is Ken Yarn Aurora, and the colorway was 3 Blind Mice. Really pretty. I loved it. It had these little, you know, the black or the flax in here. But what I found was that the lace portion disappeared with the black yarn. And I just wanted the lace in this one to stand out a little bit more. And I had this natural color Sweet Georgia yarn in my stash. And I decided to combine it with the Ken yarn, and it worked out beautifully. So this one came out a little larger because it's a little bit more yarn than the Cesium yarn, or I should say Cesium yarn, skein. But it almost feels DK-ish in weight versus a fingering weight. But it's just as absolutely gorgeous, and I love it. And I think it is one of those shawls, as I'm showing it to you, makes me want to make a 4th one. It wears really well, and a lot of the asymmetrical shawls, sometimes they're too long on one side, but the way the increases work on these, it is a perfect size to wear as a cowl type garment. So highly recommend, and play with the colors and see if you've got 2 skeins in stash that you want to use up. This is perfect. Very similar to the one I showed in the last episode, where you can combine skeins to give a simple pattern a little twist. Here's the this version. Okay, and I said I did 3, and the other one that I did was, I called it the Alaska Spring Shawl, and I'll put a picture on here. That's the one that I gift knitted to my friend Cindy. She had gone to Alaska, bought me some souvenir yarn from Alaska. I asked her to bring 2 skeins on purpose so that I could make a shawl for me, but I also made one for her. So for her shawl, it was this pattern, but on Ravelry, I call it the Alaska Shawl, and it'll be linked below as well. So it worked up just as beautifully in that other yarn. What's next? The next one I have is May I Borrow This Please? And this one is a pattern by Lorraine Wakeman. And on this one, I used a DK weight yarn. And I called it on Ravelry the Porto Peacock Shawl. And that's the color of this one. Looks like a peacock, right? This one I knit while we were on vacation in Porto. We were staying at a vineyard for a few days where there were free roaming peacocks. And as I was knitting this, the peacocks were under in the ground walking around. And I thought, that's what I'm going to call this one. And the yarn I used for this is the Ella Ray Marmel in the colorway As You Write. And this one was another quick knit for me. Again, with a US, did I say it? I used a US 9 5.5 millimeter on this one. So the gauge is a little bit looser. You know, starts at the tip and crease on one side, and it grows. And then this one also has a little bit of a lace panel in there. A couple of yarn overs knit 2 togethers. And then it has some garter rows for texture there. So you've got your stockinette, then some garter, and that gives it a little bit of, let me see if I do this. Yeah, you can see it here. So you've got your eyelets, garter, stockinette, some more garter, some stockinette, some more garter, and then the eyelet rows. So it works up really, really fast because there's this change up in knitting. So it was not a boring, it was not, see, there goes my Portuguese. Did you just hear that? The boring? You see the, yeah, it just snuck out. Yeah, sometimes the bilingualism comes out when I least expect it. When I watch these videos back, a lot of times I realize that, oh, the grammar, again, where I inverted some of the grammar, because the way the Portuguese language works, the descriptor sometimes is before the word. Or should I say no? Sometimes it's the noun before either way. You probably don't notice it the way I do it. It makes me want to cringe sometimes, but hey, when you speak 2 languages and you think in 2 languages, sometimes it happens. Yeah, for those who are new, I'm bilingual in Portuguese and in English. I don't have much of a Portuguese accent right now because I've lived in the United States since I was 9 years old. But I do live in a community where there's a lot of Portuguese spoken, and a lot of my job involves working with a Portuguese community. So yeah, it's, you know, I can start a sentence in English, finish it in Portuguese. And my husband is of a similar background. So yeah, he and I tend to bounce off in both languages, which sometimes drives some of our American friends or our English speaking friends a little, we missed half of your conversation. Anyway, I'll try to keep my R's correctly, okay? I'll try to keep my R's as a Boston R. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, back to the knitting. Well, that was a little side trip. So yeah, May I Borrow This Please? Lorraine Wakeman. Ella Ray Marmel yarn is a 50% cotton and 50% manufactured fibers. So it's a little bit of it's got that cottony feel, so it's very light too for the summer. So I've worn this one a bit is in the summer. And like the other one, I'm thinking this might be a good one. I've got some yarn over there that another one of these would work out really well for. No. Here's the, we'll see how this one comes out for the thumbnail. So those are my 4 knit shawls. the Be Simple shawl, the Magic Spring shawl, the May I Borrow This Please, and the Close to You is what I want to talk about next. I almost forgot that one. See, because it was these two, but it's the same pattern. So these count as one, not two. So the last one I want to talk about is the Close to You shawl by Justina Lorkowska. I've made two of them. One, I'll put on here a picture which was gifted. I've made it a few years ago, fully intending that one to be made and gifted out to the person. That one, it's called a Brediculous shawl, because that's the name of the yarn that I used for it. And it was the colorway Winter Cottage, and I made it for my friend Molly. And the second one I made was for me. And here's what it looks like. And for this one, I used the Alaska yarn. Cindy got a Magic Spring shawl, and for me, I did the Close to You. I had planned to make this one for her, but for some reason, I ended up starting the Magic Spring one. It was what was in my head, and I said, well, I'll make this one, and then she can decide if she wants one or the other. She kept the other one. She wasn't a fan of the ends here, but I am. I love it. I love these. So here's what, let's see how, well, we'll see. I don't know. I'm sorry if the lighting is not great, but I wanted to take the opportunity now. Like I said, if I didn't do it today, I don't know when I'll have an opportunity to do this again. But hopefully what I'm talking about will be enough for you to decide if you want to take a look at these patterns on Ravelry, or if you want to look it up yourself, on Instagram. So the Close to You by Justina, I used the Juno Woolies Cozy Toes is the name of the yarn. And this one starts right off the bat with some lace work. You cast on and you start right away with the yarn over knit two together. See that? Yeah. Hold on. Let me see how I can show you this. Well, I'll do it upside down so you can see it. There's the start. And it is similar to the Hitchhiker in that every 8th row you cast off, and you end up with these steps, these staggered cast offs. So you cast off, and then you start with your lace, and then it becomes the garter, and then on the return pass you've got garter before you get here. So this one works up super fast too. And I finished this one off to use up all of the yarn on this one as well. I ended up doing the picot cast off. Sometimes it depends on the mood I'm in. I mean, sometimes the pattern calls for it, sometimes it doesn't. But if I have enough yarn and I want to use it all up, I'll do the picot edge, because I also think it adds a little extra to the design. And this is how this one, doesn't it just look beautiful with my oversized sweatshirt? But yeah, the colors are really nice on this one too. So now I've officially done my 4, okay? My 4 knitted shawls that I highly recommend as gifts, that are quick. I know it's the 5th, so Christmas is 20 days away. These are pieces that can be knit in a week, if a week. It depends on how much, if you're a monogamous knitter, easily within a few nights it's done. If you're a knitter like me that has about 5 or 6 things going on, you may have to say, no, this is the one I'm going to work on this week, and I'm not going to work on anything else. But yep, highly recommend. Okay, so those are my knit shawls. So let's move to the crochet, shall we? I have is 2 crochet shawls. I think in the beginning I said 3, and that's because I thought this one was a crochet, but it's not, it's knitted. So I actually have is 2 crochet shawls to show you. And the first one I want to share with you is made in the Marmel yarn, the Ellery Marmel yarn, the same way. And this one is called the Madeline Triangle Scarf. Now, my version looks nothing like the version that's on Ravelry. It was made with the Lion brand yarn, mandala yarn. Mine is made with the LRA. And this is a pattern by Ginger Knots. And this is LRA Marmel, which is a DK weight yarn in the color Rose Quartz. And I used a 6mm J hook for this one. So it's a little heavier than my other ones because of the cotton content, and because this one is your typical shawl in that I'm going to try not to cover myself up, but I'll have to. It's your typical shawl that goes in a V shape, and because I wanted to use up all the yarn, I ended up making a tassel. And I used up the whole, it was 2 balls that I used for this one. And this one crocheted up so fast. It is made in the linen stitch. And for non-crocheters, a linen stitch is chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. And then on the reverse, then it becomes, you know, you chain and you single crochet into the chain from the row before. So it works up, let me see, because it goes in this direction. It works up super fast with a J hook. That is what the stitch looks like. Chain 1, single crochet all the way around. And you increase at the sides. Every row you add an extra stitch on either side, and then you get this effect. So this one worked up really nice with the crochet for me goes really fast. I worked on this while we were at the campground in the summer. The cotton during the summer is a good yarn for me to use on hot summer days. And yeah, it worked out really, really nice. Really love the color on this one. Got the little tassel there, and here's a pattern that I highly recommend for crocheters. If you're looking for a quick crochet project, you have 2 skeins of DK weight cotton yarn, or any DK weight yarn. This one will work up really fast. And again, it's a free pattern. It's I want to say it's a Lion brand pattern as well, because it was to showcase their yarn, which is the color, the gradient yarn that they had, the balls of gradient yarn mandala. And I haven't made one in that yarn. I had seen this pattern at a local yarn shop that I went to in Braintree, Wicked Good Yarns. She had it on the mannequin in this color, and I loved it, but she only had 1 ball in this color, which I ended up using for this, and I bought 2 in this color to make this one. Super fast pattern, highly recommended. That's the first crochet. The second crochet one is called the Omni by CJ Brady, and this is my Omni. Yep, there you go. Look at that color. That's exactly what the color is. And this one is, it's a fingering weight yarn. It was Play at Life is the name of the yarn, and the color was Palm. And I use a 3.75mm F hook. So this one is a little bit finer, using a smaller gauge hook. And this one is the similar to the knitted ones I showed, where it is a cast on. It's an asymmetrical shawl, which you hook up, you start your chain, you do your chain, and then you increase every row on one side and not the other. So you increase here. Here's a little edge scallop, another increase, another increase. You keep increasing on this side. This is the reverse. And this is the front, which for crocheting, it looks good on both sides. The only difference between on the crochet is one side will have a flat stitch and the front side will have the actual loops on the front. So it has more texture on one side than the other. And this one just got crocheted until I was getting to the end. And with crochet, there's no such thing as a cast off. You just finish the row and you cut your yarn and you just close it off. And here's what it looks like at the end. So, and it's very, because it was fingering weight yarn with the F hook, it was the F hook, right? Yeah. It crocheted up super fast. And let's put this one on. Like this one, I have to play with this one a little bit more because the point is more to one side than the other. This way, so I like to do it this way and wrap it around here, and I put it in, and then I will knot it on one side when I'm wearing it. And there it is. And I should really pick some yarn and do another one of this because it is really pretty. And on a day like today, this would have been perfect with my jacket. Yeah, so that is my other crochet shawl. That's also a free pattern. Now, I did have crochet cowls, and it is 2 of them. So even though I messed up on my count earlier in the intro, I do have 2 free crochet cowls that I want to share with you. One, I'm going to put a picture on here because I don't have any more, because I made them for the craft shows and I made them as gifts. And the reason why I thought about this one is that this week, Carmen, my admin assistant that I've talked about before, wore the one I made for her last year to work this week, and it looked great, and I reminded myself that I should make more. Speaking of Carmen, in the last episode I talked about the scarf that I made for me, and I made her a matching one. When I told her I talked about it on the podcast, she said, I'll wear it tomorrow, wear it yours again, and we'll take a picture. So I'm going to put a picture in here of Carmen and I wearing our matching shawls. But anyway, so Carmen is very knit worthy, very crochet worthy. She actually wears my makes more than I do. This time of year when I get to work, she's wearing one of my pieces, and she's a walking advertisement for me. Everybody wants what Carmen is wearing, thinking that she bought it in a store, until she says, no, Olivia made it. And then they ask, and I'm like, someday I might surprise you. There'll be a basket in the staff room, and you guys can pick from it. So anyway, the one that I wanted to talk about was the Mountain Trail Cowl. It's by Tanya Bush. It's a $3.99 pattern on Ravelry, but if you go to her blog, it's a free pattern on the blog. If you are a crocheter, a somewhat comfortable crocheter, you can just go to the blog, get the numbers, and you can crochet the piece really easy. If you need a little bit more step-by-step, then obviously $3.99 is not a very expensive pattern. She designed it for to use a Lion brand yarn Ferris wheel, which that's what I made a lot of them in, but I also made it with some leftover yarns that I had, some acrylic yarns that I have, for if I'm going to be gifting it without having to worry about how people are going to take care of it, or if I'm going to be making them as prizes for the raffles at the scholarship fairs, or if I'm going to be having them on the table for sale. Acrylic for me, or soft acrylic, I don't use harsh acrylic at all, because 1, I can't crochet with it, and 2, if I wouldn't wear it, I don't want to make something that somebody's going to buy to wear. So the yarn that is recommended, the Ferris wheel, the Lion brand Ferris wheel, is very soft, and it's got some beautiful gradients to it. It's a worsted weight yarn, and for those I used a 5mm H hook. And as I was been talking about, I would have been putting pictures, so you would have seen what they look like. The next one I have is the ribbed crochet cowl, and I just came across this one, and I'll take this off now, even though it's looking really nice. I just came across this one recently because, again, Carmen, she asked if I had new cowls or scarves this year, and this one is by Rebecca Carlson, and it's been on Ravelry for a while, but for some reason it just popped into, as I typed on Ravelry crochet cowls, this one came up. And this is what it looks like on Ravelry, ribbed crochet cowl. And I read the whole story on how she came with this pattern, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful story on how it connects her with her mom. So I decided to give these a try. I've made a few in different colors to see how they would work. I already have it up on my Ravelry page. I used some red heart yarn for one, and I decided, let me see how it works up with Michael's loops and thread yarn, because I have some of this in stash. Loops and threads, impeccable, which, by the way, this colorway, which is the colorway Putty, it's very, very soft. One thing I've discovered with some of the big box store yarns or the commercial yarns, depending on how they're dyed, they'll feel different. So I've bought other impeccable yarn that I wouldn't use for a garment that I'm going to wear. But this one in the colorway Putty is very, very soft. So here's the version that I completed this morning. And I put it on, and picture of me when I went outside wearing it. And it was a test fit to see if with this weather it would lay well under a jacket. And after I finish recording, I'll probably try to take some pictures of it without a jacket. But for now, this is what it looks like. So this is a super, super quick project. It is done with single crochet and half double crochet. The pattern is for any weight yarn, so that's why I had to try different weight yarns. I did try it with the Ferris wheel, but it came out a little too drapey, and then the Red Heart yarn came out a little too stiff. But this impeccable yarn, this Loops and Thread, seems to be just the right amount of softness and acrylic, and be easy care. And I think I've got a winner here. And so I'm going to be making a few of these, and these are going to be the ones that are going to end up in the basket to go into the staff room in the different colors, because I have a lot of that impeccable yarn in stash. And how I did this one is, and I should say what I used for a hook. I used an eye hook. Yeah. And what is, did I bring up my hook? So if the J is, let's see, if an H is a 5, an I is a 5.5. Yeah, 5.5 hook. And so it starts with single crochets through the back loop and then half double crochets through the back loop. The modification to the pattern is she has it as 20, is it 10 and 10, I believe, or 15 and 15. She has it so that it's the same amount. Whatever you do for your single, you do for your half double. I switched it up a little bit. My decision was to make it, and this has become the perfect formula for me, all these notes are on Ravelry. I did it as 36. So it's 36 chains plus 1, which is your turning chain. And then after you do that turning chain, you never have to do it again. So it's 36. So then I've done 16 half double crochet and 10 single crochet. That gives it just the right height for the neck to wear it almost like a turtleneck kind of thing. But this here being half double crochet with a little bit more length, it can go over your shoulders. At the 20, it was a little bit too much. And yeah, so this is the perfect fit. I'm going to put it on so you can see how it looks. You know, I was so happy with it when I finally got the right formula and how fast it worked up. And this is why my work in progress is get stuck. So anyway, here's what it looks like. So it's perfect over the shoulders. With a jacket, it goes right in, and then you've got this for the cold days, right? Up, down. But then if you want to keep it on after you take your jacket off, you just roll your cuff. And if you're at work with a sweater where the heat is not exactly at its highest because the city is trying to save money and keeping the temperature low in our buildings, we can use this to keep us warm. Carmen has a little space heater in her office because her side of the building doesn't get much sun. So yeah, I know she's going to love wearing this. And yeah. So go and find this pattern on Ravelry if you're a crocheter and start whipping up a few, because you can make one of these for quick, economical. I mean, the Loops and Thread yarn putty colorway recommended. I've also done the one in navy. Same thing. It was really soft. These are less than $5. And it doesn't take one skein to make one of these. So quick, easy, economical gift to make. All right. I think I've gotten to the end here. Except to say what I forgot to say in the beginning, but I'll add it on here. The reason why I chose to show free patterns on this episode is because the theme of the episode for me was going to be about gift giving. And the way I see these patterns that I shared with you today, the designer has shared it with us as a gift. Yes, it might be to help promote their designs, but it's also a gift to us to take the pattern and interpret it to be what it's going to eventually be with the yarn we choose for it. And so I wanted to just showcase the free patterns. Now, not to say that I don't have tons of paid for patterns in my Ravelry library, or that I've already made and that are in my drawer, but that'll be for another day if I do another My Favorite Shawls segment. But this one being for ideas if you want to participate in the Needles at the Ready make along. I thought these would make great quick makes and at low cost to you, obviously, just the cost of the yarn, because we all know that some of our yarn is it's pricey, and some of the recipients might not understand just how pricey the yarn is. So if you're looking for something that's economical, those are my recommendations. Okay, going to take just a quick little break here, sip my tea, and see how we're doing for time. Yeah, we're doing okay. What I wanted to talk about next is, actually, let me show you my quick work in progress. It is the, let me just take my stitch markers out, my little thing. It is my Christmas Belle. Oops, and I've lost a stitch holder. Where's the other one? Fell in the basket. So let's see if I can do this without losing my stitch. I am working, oh, I just heard it fall. Yep. So what I'm talking about is my Christmas Belle. Here's where I'm at with it. It will be finished for Christmas Eve. I have no doubt I will finish this. And so here's the back. So here's where I am with it. Look how beautiful that is. I love this thing. And it's not quite yet. Like, I've gotten quite a bit done. I'm going to show you where I was the last time I showed you. When I did the short that I uploaded, when I did the test fit, that's the marker on where I was. I was there. So I have knit quite a bit on it. And so this is going to go into production soon for being pretty much my knit. Gary been near this. Got a little Gary here there. And let me do a shout out here to Nancy of Knit Sip Happy. I will be talking about her a little bit more in some other patterns that I have to show you. But Nancy saw that I had this posted on Instagram, and she talked about it on her channel, and I ended up getting a few followers thanks to Nancy. Nancy's also working on one, but she's doing hers in green. I can't wait to see it, her version of it, as well as Leanne of the Nitty Stew. She's also doing one. So this was a July 1st cast on as a Christmas in July with knit-worthy yarns. And I had thought I'd finish it earlier, but you know, there's so many other things that I want to knit all the time. And Christmas was so far away, and now Christmas is only 20 days away. I do plan to wear this on Christmas Eve. Okay, enough about that. The details on it, I've talked about it in the short, and it's on Ravelry, so I'm not going to take too much time. I just wanted to show you that I am making progress on it. I haven't forgotten about it. All right, so now let's talk about, let's see, I have choices here. I've got choices. Last episode, I talked about the 12 cast-ons of 2025 and how I was pointing behind me on projects that I had that needed to get finished. So 12 cast-ons of 2025 is something that I participated in with Angela of Yarn and Yarns podcast. She's a UK-based podcaster, and I love watching her episodes. She's got a few that are throughout the month, and they're fast to watch, and they're great for a lunchtime company. And she has this initiative where you can cast on 12 items between December 24th and January 31st that you plan to knit throughout the year. It's just about getting them on the needles, and then you take the whole year to work on them. And so I decided to participate. It's the first time I could even think that I would actually stay focused on doing something like that, but I did. So I did do my 12 cast-ons, and I did get a lot done. However, number 2, number 9, and number 12 still need to be finished. So December 31st is still 26 days away. So I might have time to finish these. So I'm going to be talking to you about them, if you will indulge me a little bit here, because I want to have a record that I do plan to finish them. And yeah, so I will actually go through my list really quick, and I'll put pictures on here. The first one that I cast on was the ranunculus, and it was a ranunculus for Carmen, and I cast that on 12/28, and I finished it on January 12th. That was number 1. Number 2 is over here still to be done. Number 3 was the Every Which Way cowl. I cast that on December 31st, and I finished it on April 13th. Number 4 was the dashed beanie, which was, it's a Benjamin Matthews pattern, and it was a hat that I made for the husband to wear when we were in New York City for Vogue Knitting Live. And then I made a green one for me. That was number 5. Number 6 was the Sophie scarf. All of these were cast on and finished by January 25th. Number 7 was the Alaska spring shawl, which was for Cindy. I cast it on January 24th. I finished it on February 2nd. The Wilfreda sweater was number 8. Cast that on January 26th, and I finished it February 28th. Staying on task. I did really good with those. And then I hit number 9, and that's still in the bag to be done. Number 10 was Natty the Unexpected Gnome. I cast that on January 28th, finished it on February 7th. Then number 11 was the Rosario's Quatre Splendiferous socks, which is a Nancy Wheeler pattern, Knit Sip Happy. I cast those on January 28th, and I finished them on February 16th. They worked up super fast. And those were my second pair that I knit with that pattern. And then number 12 is the Shift. I cast that on January 28th, and it's still in the basket. So yeah, so 3 to go. So let me show you what I still have. The first one, so this is the one that's a work in progress. It was number 2, and I called it the Woodland Wonders Cowl. Cast this on December 28th, and it's here in this bag. This is a Crafthousemagic Yarn bag, and the yarn that I'm using and the pattern that I'm using is Crafthousemagic. Last year, I got my first ever Advent, and I was the Woodland Wonders from Crafthousemagic. So that's what this pattern is, the yarn that I'm using for this one. And I'll show you how I have them here in the barber cord, the yarn from the Advent. There's more in the basket. This is half of them, the colors that I had decided I was going to use for this cowl. Can you see the color? You know, because of the light. Yeah, you can see the colors. And this is what I've got so far. And the pattern is the Sound Waves pattern, which is one of Ellie's patterns. This is what the pattern is. It's got that texture. So it's a cowl knit in the round. And here's how far I got with it. It's a little wrinkle for me. This is how far I got. I've got 2 colors in. 2. It's a little wrinkly because it's been sitting in the bag. And this is working up so well. I did enjoy it. Oh, there you go. There's the colors. I really enjoy this pattern. But it got put in the bag and it got set aside and it's been sitting there. So I have to get cranking on this one because it's just knitting in the round. And then when and I've got it on a cord here because then I'm going to graft it together at the end. It's just one long tube. So in these colors, so I'm going to go in from the pinks into purples, purples into blues, and blues into greens, and I'm going to end it with this green and pink, which will match beautifully. Let me see. which will match beautifully with what's here. Now, let me see. Yeah. Can you see that? So I think it will be a good wrap up. So I've got to work on this one. That is number 2. The next one that I didn't finish is number 9, which is the fingerless gloves. The fingerless gloves are also a pattern by Ellie Jones of Crafthousemagic. It's the alternate thumb mittens. And this is how far I got with them. I didn't get too far. And it's a mess right now because the yarn is all over the place. But I just have the cuff done on it. And I'm using a, it's a mystery yarn that I have. I don't have the label for it. This was, the idea was to try to use up whatever yarn I had that was already caked up. And I don't know what I did with the label for this one. But I want to say this is a merino sock. It has, yeah, I don't think this one's got nylon in it. It doesn't feel like it's got nylon. It's too soft. So that is that one. And the last one that I still hope to finish by the 31st is the shift. And here's my version of it. And this version is, it's got browns, beiges, and blues. And why I chose these colors was because I'd gone to Vogue Knitting Live, as I said, and I had brought some yarn with me. I had taken a class with Andre of Andre Knits, and it was knitting color work in the Portuguese style. And he had asked us to bring yarn that would be good yarn for color work and contrasting, and these were the colors, some of the colors that I brought. I had these 3. Oh, what was that? These are the 3 colors. And because they were caked up, I figured I would use these for the shift. I like these 3 colors together. And this yarn is Cloudborne Fibers, Highland Sport. And yeah, I need to start working on this too, because it was, oh, do you hear my stomach? It's growling. I'm hungry. Yeah. I got a little carried away wanting to record and I didn't stop for lunch because I really like how these colors are working up. So here's the reverse of it. So the colors did work up nicely. So I think as it grows, it's going to be a nice cowl to use. So those are the 3 that I'm still hoping to finish. Do you think I'm going to finish them? Any of you out there like me where you have all of these ideas and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, time has gone away from me? Are you all working on something with a deadline like I am? Self-imposed deadline. I mean, it's not going to make a difference if I finish it or not, right? Nobody's going to be holding me accountable for it. But it's that thing where I'll do it because, 12 cast ons of 2026. Can you believe it's 2026? Is right around the corner. And I have a few garments that I want to knit in 2026. So I want to use those as my entry for this year coming up. And yeah, if I wasn't able to finish mittens and cowls, will I be able to finish garments? Possibly, because I did do a lot of garments this year too, didn't I? I've got a few sweaters that I knit this year that I got in the drawer. So as proof, excuse me a second while I have a sip of tea. So these that I'm showing you, that's not even showing some of the other stuff I have got as works in progress here. All right, so let's do this part where I want to do the gift away, and then the last thing I'm going to show you is the yarn advent that I opened. Gift away. I would love to give something to all of you for being here with me. I really would. It's something that giving, for if you've been with me here, giving just brings me a lot of joy. But I can't. So I have to do it as a gift away, and I'm going to put in a prompt here. My plan is to do a gift away of a Ravelry pattern, because that way it's easy peasy. I can gift it to you on Ravelry. I don't have to worry about postage or it getting lost in the mail. Right now I've got a a skein of yarn that I shipped out to Mustang, Oklahoma, that's been lost since November 3rd. Yeah, so yeah, that's a story for another day. So let's do a gift away of a pattern, a digital pattern, and a pattern that you might have on your Ravelry library wish list, or something that you may have just come across. Anything that's up to $10, I will gift. Maybe 1, 2, who knows? I might gift a few more. All I need you to do is to leave a comment below if any of these shawls have been something you've knit or crocheted, or if it's something that you plan to make. How's that? Just a quick little sentence, couple of words, just say, Magic Spring Shawl, done it. Magic Spring Shawl will do it. Magic Spring Shawl, thank you for sharing that pattern with us. Whatever, just some comment that ties into what I showed you today. That'll let me know that you did watch the episode, and I will be more than happy to pull out a couple of names through the random comment generator and send off a pattern of your choice, a paid-for pattern of your choice on Ravelry, up to $10. I know some of the patterns are starting to be a little bit more, but if I want to do more than one, we'll cap it off at $10. So that's the giveaway portion here. My gift to you, and as we're going into this gift giving season, I thought it would be a good time to share something with you at this point. In wrap up, because it's just about to get noisy here in the house. I just hear that my son is just getting home, so he's going to be lumbering up here pretty soon. So the last thing I want to show you is I did open the Advent from Crafthousemagic that I got this year. I actually got 2 Advents this year, and I don't necessarily want to do it as a spoiler, but you know, it's been December 1st, it's already 4 days into it. So let me show you how I have it. So here's my 2 Advents from Crafthousemagic. I've got it in this box. And the 2 that I got this year is the Dragonfly theme. And I got the 12-day one of the 20-gram fingering weight minis. And I got the Dragonfly one, which is the 1 week full skein for the month of it. So I've got 4 that I'm going to be opening up on the Sundays. And then here's my 12 minis. And it came with a beautiful purple project bag. Ellie always puts a project bag into her Advents. Came with a little gift that I've already opened. It's a little sample of her yarn. And here's what I've got left to open. But let me show you what I've opened so far, just to give you a sense of her gorgeous yarn. So day 1, 1, 2, and day 3, 4. So this is the first one I opened, and it is Violet Dropwing, and these are Dragonfly names. So here's the purple. And the second day is Purple Skimmer. And look at how well these 2 go together. Aren't they beautiful? So it's good. I want to be adding it. So I told you I had the minis for that cowl, but let me show you the basket with the rest of the minis from last year that's still waiting to be used. So this needs to be turned into something, and I'm getting an idea on what to make with these because Nancy is working. She's got Vlogmas. So if you're looking for a Vlogmas to watch and you don't know about Nancy's, I mean, Nancy is a fantastic YouTube podcaster. I've been watching Nancy since the start. So it's Nancy Wheeler, Knit Sip Happy, and she's doing Vlogmas, and she is doing a the Kay Jones crochet jelly roll blanket, and I'm intrigued. I want to try and do it too. So I've already downloaded the pattern. I've bought the pattern, downloaded it, and I'm considering starting it. I probably would have started already with these, but since I have all of this other stuff to finish, including that Christmas Belle, these may have to wait. Okay, and I think I got you all caught up, and let's see, yeah, I'm at about a little over an hour, so we'll see how this is going to splice up. So for now, I just want to thank you for being here. Remember to click like and subscribe, share, all of that stuff that all of us podcasters ask to see the channel continue to grow. I will try to get on here before Christmas because I do want to show you my finished Christmas bell. So let's wrap this up, shall we? So thank you for being here. Muito obrigada por estar aí deste lado. Até a próxima. Until next time.